disclosure news and commentary number 110. Holy shit. 110, 110, 110, 110. Happy Monday, fools. It is May, holy shit, 10th. And not this weekend, but the weekend after is when I will be in Georgia. Welcome to a combined. This is the first time I've ever done this. This will be full disclosure 110. This will be a Be Kind review number 10. And it will also be a Plist 29. What's the subject of the Plist? The 10 kinds of wrestling fans that I hate the most. Really. What is the Be Kind review about? Well, the subtitle is I listen to the Chase and Rants interviews so you don't have to. I was going to do this as a separate video series, but I don't think it's really warranted. I'd rather have it here. Since I know a lot of people are interested in that, I'm going to go ahead and do it here because I'm cranking out videos every day, especially here at the beginning of the week. There are just wrestling shows on the national level every single frickin' day. And I wanted to kind of knock this thing off of my list. And so I'm going to put it here. So is that what the commentary is about? No, the commentary is about... it's something I discovered about myself. And not anything necessarily earth-shattering, though it's something that I think people can learn from. No, I did not figure out that I was gay all of a sudden, unlike any number of former wrestling promoters and wrestling personalities that still work in the Georgia area who seem to be in bitter and unnecessary denial. Wow, we're starting off hot. All right. So for Patreon, we have some shuffling around going on, which is really cool. You'll see that in the end credits video. Thank you again to my Patreon subscribers. I just put up a video about Danny Cage, who's been embroiled in two kind of controversies. One about the Ring of Honor school, which I find very interesting. And then another about Rudy Gonzalez. And is that guy a sick, deviant pervert? Yes or no? So I chime in with my opinions. I share with my patrons some research that I did on the matter to find out if Danny Cage is full of shit or not. I will say one thing about it that I didn't bring up in the video that I think, and it's been a point of contention, especially on the Rudy thing, that Danny Cage really only revealed all this stuff about Rudy as a counterpunch to Rudy making a joke about him still taking a check from Ring of Honor, even as he found the conditions there so horrible. And that's when Danny decided to reveal this thing about Rudy. And no matter how Danny tries to play it off now, it certainly appears that that was the case. Does that make his statement weaker? Listen to my Patreon and see. Cool. But D. Ingram stepped up to the next level, so I want to acknowledge that on the Patreon. So that's awesome. So I guess D is feeling it. D also tends to be the guy that responds in comments and things like that, which is greatly appreciated. Rob Rod put out his top 10 list of the 10 top tag teams and factions, and there's always already some buzz and some talk going on about that. I chimed in just because I'm that asshole, so you can find that. Gary Lamb responded saying that he thought that All-Star Special should be in the top. Well, no, he didn't say it should be in the top 10. He's like, they should be in the top 5, probably in the top 3. Rob Rod had sort of a weak response. And then Gary and him went back and forth. And then I finally jumped in, as I tend to do in these things. So you'll want to read those comments. And you can also check out Rob's report, which he was upset because the audio was so faint and weak On the original, that he had to redo it and speak right into the microphone. And he called it the Angry Report. Jesus Christ, that's Rob when he's angry and emotional. I love Rob Rod stuff. I'm just gonna be blunt and fucking honest because I know he watches this. He's got to fucking spice this shit up, man. He's got to fucking bring a little energy and a little pep and a little something. Because I can say this. I don't know if I've ever gotten to the end of one of his videos because I do not find them engaging. And that's purely on delivery. And if you're going to be somebody who's going to critique, I think when you're called upon to perform, and these videos are in some level a performance, you're asking people to give up their time and their resources in time to fucking listen to them. It behooves you to have a little spirit and a little energy on this. Hopefully Rob Rod will take this as a note and just fucking engage. I'm not saying be fake. I'm just saying don't be fucking boring and don't fucking kill us. Cool. Oh shit. Unboxing. I got two things to unbox. This one's really heavy, so I'm going to unbox this. And I know this one's from Skrilla, so I'm going to open this one second. But I'm going to open this one first. By the way, people continue to send stuff. I get notices all the time. I greatly appreciate it. I think it's amazing. Let's send an... Oh, there's two. Okay. I'm going to show them... Oh, fuck a duck. Let me look. Oh, they're in like nice... Oh, these aren't t-shirts. I just assumed they were. These are... anyone who knows me from back in the day knows that I had a thing for wearing aloha shirts, especially once I left Hawaii, but even when I lived there. I worked at a thrift store. It was my first real job when I was like late high school, early college. I worked at this thrift store, and we would get these sort of vintage or unusual aloha shirts. And I would freaking buy them for a song because it was a thrift store. And I would wear them all the time. That was my look. I would have some kind of weird t-shirt. I would have this on the outside, open buttons. And then I would fucking tool around that way. Like some asshole fucking frat boy or some really shitty comedian from the late 80s. These shirts are gorgeous, though. Oh, my God. Whoever sent those, thank you. I don't have any kind of nicer collared shirts anymore because my freaking kids take all my shit. I don't blame them, and I think it's cool, but those shirts are gorgeous. I'm going to wear those. Believe it. I'm going to wear those. And then Skrilla. Steven Platinum. This thing's big. I don't know what it is. I suspect I know what it is. But I mean, I assumed it was a t-shirt. But whew. It is. And let's open this up at the same time. Oh, see a little sticker, yo. Embrace greatness, Skrilla the Great. Love it. Skrilla's the man, boy. Oh, look at this shirt. I'm putting this shit on right away. And then soon after this, I'm going to go work out. So believe they are going to see me repping Skrilla the Great. I love... Oh, it looks good on me, too. I'm going to be seeing Skrilla not once, but twice next week. I'm going to see him Saturday at the IWE show. It makes me sad that I'm actually going to miss... I guess Larry's getting inducted to the Landmark Hall of Fame on that Saturday. I'm going to miss that because I'm going to be at IWE, which saddens me, but I'm sure I'll get to hear all about it, and that'll be a lot of fun. And then Sunday, I'm going to be at GIPW. This is nuts. This is madness. Friday, I'm going to be at Pro South. And Thursday, I'm going to be at PCW training. So if you want to hang out, you want to see me, I'm going to be at all those spots. So just let me know, baby. Let me know. People are already lining up like dinner dates and all that kind of stuff. I think it's cool. I'll see you. WrestleMerica at 275 of an enthusiastic crowd. Their talent level continues to go up, though this show, from the sounds of Larry's report, felt very spotty. Like it felt very off the cuff, pulling it out of their ass a lot. No reason for that. I'm curious who books that show. Now, certain segments are just going to work. Simon Sermon's segment is going to work and whatever. But there's a flow of the show thing that I think that they really need to establish, especially if you're getting crowds that big, especially if your talent pool is going to get bigger. I think a little bit of taking the reins will help a lot. All Pro drew, I guess, 49 at the beginning. Rod said 75 by intermission. I like that kind of thoroughness. That's way down. What the fuck's going on? APW, 83 a week and a half ago, and then 124 for their big spring break show. Awesome. That's nice. That's where you want to see APW. Like that. Southern Violence keeps rolling, buddy. 220 in Athens. Good looking crowd, improving talent pool. They've set up kind of a death match thing for their next show. So they got their thing going. Victory Championship Wrestling. Nobody got back to me. Is it because they're afraid of answering me? Is motherfucking Johnny Slaughter's fucking useless ass back at fucking in charge? Can somebody just fucking be honest and let me know? I ain't mad. I just want to know. Did Johnny Slaughter, did the charges get dropped? Is he still in charge? Are people trying to be slick? What the fuck's the deal, Wicked Nemesis or whoever who can tell me the fucking truth? I'm not going to go fucking pursue it. This is one of those things where there's people I know who work that show. Somebody tell me the fucking truth. Is Johnny Slaughter there? If it's so, just tell a brother. Or are they just trying to keep their head down so nobody says anything? I just want to know. Tuesday, tomorrow, is a tipping point. And we're having our promo for the Love of Promo show. And we have a few illustrious guests who are going to be cutting their favorite promos of all time. And then sharing a little bit about why they picked that promo. We're going to talk to them a while about it. And we're going to have J-Rod, who hasn't been seen for a minute. But he's back at Pro Wrestling Circuit on the 15th. And so we're going to interview him. And Larry said he's going to do a promo as well, his favorite promo. So he's going to be the last person that we talk to. So he's going to do his promo, his favorite promo. We're going to talk about it, and then we're going to interview him to close the show. And before him, we already have 3 guests lined up. I would say that we've got room for at least one more, maybe 2. Are you a new wrestler? This is something that I liked. When we did this last year, Hold My Beer Hansen, who was trying to make a name for himself, jumped in and did it. And it had to be intimidating for him, right? He jumped in there with some heavy motherfucking promo hitters, right? Guys like Dan, guys like Jeff, guys like whoever, right? But he jumped in there. Got my respect. So I would say this. Here's who I would love to hear from. Is somebody that we haven't heard from before do the promo thing. Would be great. I would love to hear from a woman. I would love to hear from somebody who hasn't done the promo thing with us before. I would love to hear from a newer wrestler. I would love to hear from someone who wants to step up and say, I'm trying to get somewhere in this wrestling thing, and I'm throwing my name out there, and I'm going to show you guys that I get this wrestling thing, and I get what's so beautiful about promos, and here's one of my favorite promos from so-and-so and such and such. And then you cut it. Get in contact with Larry or me. Get your name out there, and let's have a good time tomorrow night at 7. Cool. The Chase and Rants reviews. I took many notes on this shit. But at the end of the day, I did not want to devote videos to this. I was going to do 3, one for each one. But there's really no need to listen to them. I'll just say that. That first video where he goes into the thing that you want to hear about, like what's the incident that you got, arrested for, did jail time for, all of that shit. My general notes. Um, it's a jumbled fucking mess. If Chasen Rance is not coked up or Adderalled up, I would be shocked. And again, people might get mad. People are like, "Oh, you're gonna get sued." Whatever. These are just my fucking opinions based on when I listen, me listening. Chasen Rance cannot hold a fucking thought. It was an incredibly frustrating interview in that way, right? He would start a sentence. He would start talking about what you thought you wanted him to talk about, and then he would veer left and right. Chasen Rance name drops like a motherfucker, shamelessly. He's attaching his name to names of people that I'm not so sure would want their name attached to Chasen Rance, which I thought was really stupid on his part. And it's his way of building up credibility in a pro wrestling way. One thing that is definitively for sure, and people can get mad about everything I'm about to say. This is my fucking opinion, and it's probably the right one. So just listen and shut the fuck up and get out of your head for a little bit. All right. Chasen Rance is a wrestling guy through and through. And that brings with it a lot of bad, as well as maybe some not as bad. I won't say good, because it's Chasen Rance we're talking about, but I will say not as bad. But he name drops shamelessly. He is cocky. He is definitely full of his own shit all over the place. This guy who interviews him, Duke, I will say this. These interviews should exist. And the fact that there was this movement of like, it's so terrible that they're out there and this should never be, that is fucking ignorant and that is stupid. This is information and Duke makes it really clear. And I really like Duke who did this interview. I'll say that. He comes across well. He just lets Chasen Rance talk. He in each video, at most, he interjects like 5 or 6 times in these videos that are all over an hour. He just lets Chasen Rance talk. And this is fuckers. This is what you want. So all of you assholes who love serial killer documentaries and love true crime shit, and there's a ton of people, that's half of what's on fucking Netflix. So you assholes, and I'm talking to this audience, all of you watch that shit and fucking love it. And do you think for a moment that that's not okay? Of course you think it's okay. You think it's great if you're watching fucking Tales from Iceman Kuklinski, right? And what's great about those interviews is he just fucking talks. And he's describing some sick shit and some disturbing shit. But you want it, right? You like it. Chasen Rance, same fucking shit. And you're saying, Steve, no, it's not. Yes, it is. You want this information out there. It's better to have his perspective than to not have that out in the public forum. And Duke does a great fucking job letting Chasen Rance talk, getting the information that we want to hear. But Chasen Rance cannot hold a thought. Chasen Rance is obviously, on one hand, conscious of the fact that I'm going to say shit that's going to get me into more trouble. But then on the other hand, he can't stop himself from fucking talking. And that's exactly the kind of person you want interviewed. What's my opinion about the Chasen Rance shit? I get that he's a fucking boogeyman. I get that it's so easy to go, he's fucking Satan. Let me tell you something. Chasen Rance got nailed for what he got nailed for. And should he have fucking got dragged through the dirt in the way that he did? Absolutely. Did he fucking pay the price? Abso-fucking-lutely. So what's the beef at this point? Do we know other people in wrestling who have got arrested and did fucking jail time and all the rest of it for less than fucking honorable shit that we fucking crucify other people for? Yes. Once they pay that price, what the fuck are we talking about? Is the problem that they didn't pay enough of a price? Chasen Rance is unlikable. Undoubtedly. And I would suggest watch the first video and go to the 30-minute mark if you want to hear the fucking details of the shit of having sex with the girl. Okay? I'm not saying it's going to make you a Chasen Rance fan, nor should it. I will say that if your perspective is he's a pedophile who fucking raped this person and blah, 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 it's off. You're off and you don't know. Am I saying you're just taking Jason Rance's word for this? No. It's a case that I followed. It's a case and the things that he says, for the most part, line up with the fucking facts of the case, what he was charged with, and what he was sentenced to. It all lines up. So you can continue to be mad. You can continue to fucking, for some reason, tilt at the fucking windmill. And we're going to talk about tilting of the windmill in the commentary. Of just deciding that Jason Rance is going to be your boogeyman and your fucking hill to die on. And you're going to signal to everybody what a great person you are by saying what a piece of shit Jason Rance is and all the rest of this boring, played out bullshit. Or you can just fucking listen to these interviews. And again, if you're one of those people that's just going to continues to use Jason Rance as your fucking whipping post, so be it. You're going to go in and you're going to have your stupid fucking lens on and you're going to watch it or listen to it looking through that lens, and it's not going to change your mind. I mean, if nothing else, politics has shown us in the last fucking 6 years that people are going to go in with their fucking blinders on and they're going to see things through their lens regardless of fucking reality, no matter what. So what am I saying about Jason Rance? He's a piece of shit, and he's fucking annoying as fuck, and he's a carny wrestling piece of shit, and all the rest of it. I will also say that he's not some fucking monster. And I will also say that if you listen to the fucking Gomorrah that was his household, there were parts of me that felt bad for him in the sense that he's such a fucking mark for himself and for the wrestling business. When you hear about all the people that lived in his house, which he says with this great deal of pride, I just go like, this guy is so far out of fucking reality. And then you hear about the situation with the girl and you realize just what a fucking Gomorrah that whole atmosphere was. It's fucking fascinating. Even though you got to go through fucking all this yammer yammer to get there. And then the other two videos too, I thought really have a value there. It's things to listen to with a discerning ear. But if what you want me to say is Jason Rance, burn him at the stake, nope. I think pretty much he's gotten his fucking just desserts. And at this point, anybody who continues to bring up the name Jason Rance, it's only a way to fucking virtue signal for their fucking self. You're not protecting anybody from anything. At this point, people have eyes wide open, and if people are choosing to do business with them, then they're going to choose to do business with them, and it doesn't put anybody in any kind of peril or danger at this point, and you're just fucking blowing steam and smoke. And it's the kind of statement that'll probably get me in trouble, but I don't give a fuck. If we haven't learned that about me by now, we will never learn that. I would just suggest listening to these interviews run by this guy Duke, who again, I think did the proper job, and now this stuff's all out in the public fucking record. So if you want to listen to this shit, and then you want to fucking talk some shit, cool, I'm down to talk to you. If you're somebody who's like, I refuse to listen to that, then you're speaking out of fucking ignorance and out of your own fucking hidey hole. And that's whatever it is. But for those who are trying to virtue signal and continue to fucking talk about Jason Rance as you're this just great person and you're all this shit, I mean, I would have to say, if you're not willing to hear him out in a forum where he's fucking giving you all the fucking details you could possibly want that are verifiable or not, then you're a piece of shit too. In the sense that continue to invoke his name as a way to say something about yourself, there's something really fucking kind of gut-wrenching about that at this point to me. Cool. Commentary. So on Saturday, for 24 hours, well, it was going to be 24 hours, however long it took. I played this video game Maneater, and I'm determined to finish it. And I got it in my head that I want to finish this beginning to end without dying. And if I died, I would start over. And it turns out I got my answer. How long will it take to finish Maneater without dying and doing all the little missions? It looks like about 15 hours, because 2 hours in, I started about 9 in the morning. I died around 11. And then I had to start over, which was very frustrating. And then 14 hours later, I was rolling. I had beaten all 10 of the sub hunters, so I only had Scaly Pete left. But then you also have these apex predators that you have to beat. Not Randy Orton. This shit was actually good. I didn't have black goo coming out of my mouth. Neither here nor there. And I had the last one of those to beat. And I was exhausted. I actually, for the first time, that's the first time I've been able to close this hand. I know that didn't sound good. I actually got I didn't recognize it because I'd never had it before. I recognized, like, holy fuck, I had carpal tunnel from 16 hours of doing repetitive motions with my hands. So especially my right hand was fucked up. I couldn't close it. It was in pain. I ain't bitch about it. I mean, I'm just telling you what happened. 16 hours of fucking blah, 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 right? And then I died. And then I realized, like, I'm going to have to pick a day and I'm going to have to finish the fucking thing. And then I started thinking, why am I built this way? Why do I do this? Like, because I did this with State of Decay, where I was determined, like, I can finish this game without dying. And I can do, and then it was not enough to finish without dying. Then it had to be, I can finish this without switching characters, because the thing is designed to switch characters. I'm like, and I can do that. And it took out of the box thinking. I had to, the game designers, when I contacted them and told them that I did this thing and proved it, they were like, we never heard of anybody even attempting that, much less doing it. And their response was, what is wrong with you? Now, they said it in a joking way, but then I thought about all these things that I had obsessed about in the past. And it went back as far as the Atari fucking game system. I was a kid, but we had the Atari, and I played this game called Yar's Revenge. And I had heard there was this rumor that there was no kill screen, meaning you could play the game ad infinitum if you wanted to. And I tested the theory. So I would play the game, and it got harder and harder and harder. But I had built up so many extra lives that I really couldn't be wiped out of the game. And what I would do is I would get it to, like, the in-between phase, go sleep, get up, and then continue to play the game. Because this was like during the summer. So I could do that. I'd play the game for like 15 to 16 hours a day and just build up and just build up and just build up and just build up. Then I would keep the game on, go to sleep, and come back. After 4 days of this, my Atari burned out. Like, it literally just fried from never being turned off for days. When Resident Evil 4 came out, I believe it was for the GameCube, I was determined to finish the game without dying. And then I got to the end. Don't worry, this has a wrestling relevance. I got to the end of the game, and then it was more or less random. You would jump on this jet ski as the cave system was collapsing, and you would either go left or right. And you had to make that decision 3 or 4 times. And I'm not saying that it was a coin flip's chance, but you really didn't have that much time to react. And on one of those, do you go left or do you go right? I died. So then I had to start over. And I remember flipping out because I'd spent, it's probably at least 12 or 13 hours. And then I had to fucking start over. But I did start over, and then I finished. And then I became obsessed with this idea of how much of the game can you defeat without using a gun. So then I would just use the knife. And this was a party trick. Friends would have parties, and then they would go, watch this thing that Steve does in this beginning village scene where you're just getting attacked by person after person, and he doesn't use a gun. And I would just use a knife, and I would wipe this whole fucking village worth of... They weren't technically zombies. They were infected. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. I would basically beat this whole game of zombies using the knife. And then I became obsessed with, can I beat this whole game without dying using a knife on everything that you could possibly use a knife on? Only using guns when I had to. Meaning, like, you couldn't finish this particular thing without using a gun to shoot them. But anything else, I would use a knife if at all possible. And I finished the game. I realized after the Manhunter thing on Saturday that this is who I am. And I think about my life, and I think about the fact that I'm still involved in wrestling. And then I've had to carve out. That's why, does it bother me when people say shit about me and they vague post about me? A little bit, because in a sense, it's like this idea that I need to apologize for who I am, to me is ridiculous, right? Is anybody else doing exactly what I do? I'm going to say no. I'm carving out my own way of doing something. And in the process, I think I've made the Georgia wrestling scene and hope to make the Florida scene more significant. And do I apologize for fucking giving some guys coverage and some leagues coverage that haven't really had it before? No. Do I apologize for creating a fucking buzz around the awards that hasn't existed for years? No. Do I apologize for trying things out and sometimes ditching them and then trying other things out? No. I'm carving out a very different way to do something with fucking wrestling. And I'm doing it in part for survival, but I'm also doing it because I realize this is who the fuck I am. I'm that guy who's going to figure out how to fucking make a living and make my way in the wrestling business. I said to a very good friend of mine at one point years ago, I felt like I had been fucking contributing to the bank of pro wrestling and it had taken from me and taken from me. And that's part of wrestling, and I get that. But I was like, but you know what? I'm going to start fucking withdrawing. And that's exactly what I'm doing. But it's not like wrestling gets nothing out of the deal. I'm getting to fucking contribute. I'm getting to teach some guys that if I called them out, they would admit something. That I'm fucking helping. I'm helping them. Steve, are you saying you've helped guys get signed? Abso-fucking-lutely. And this is the most fertile period as far as having a chance to make a living in pro wrestling for a lot of wrestling people. And I'm going to help people take advantage of that shit. This is a time where leagues can get fucking recognized in a way that they've never been able to really get recognized before. And am I going to help with that? You're goddamn right. And at the end of the day, it pleases me. It makes me happy that Rob Rod put out his own fucking top 10 list about something. Because that's because of me. And having the more of that shit that exists, the more people that are writing reports, the more that we have people like Charles out there writing reports of a certain segment of wrestling shows that really were underrepresented. That's great. If there are podcasts that feel pushed by me, that's wonderful. If fucking Nick and Myron can find their thing, and they have a bigger audience than I do, but my audience is the audience that I fucking want, which is wrestling fucking people. And I know there's a lot of people who, everybody loves to pretend that there's haters, right, in their lives. Oh, there's people who are rooting for me to fail and blah, blah, blah. And maybe that's true, but they don't really fucking matter. We all know that there are people that, if they had their druthers, would find a fucking way to make me stop doing what I'm doing. But if I've learned nothing else about myself, it's that even I can't stop me. Even I can't stop me. One day the tale will be told about what's going on with me in the last 2 years. And it's been fucking rough. But even I can't stop me. Because I'll be the guy that, even when my hand's all fucked up and I'm frustrated, my first thought was, well, I got to see what day that I'm free to try this again, and I got to finish Maneater. And it's that same mentality that keeps me in the wrestling business. I enjoy it. And I have something to offer. The reason that I got into pro wrestling, the thing that really kept me here, and I'm just going to be blunt and honest with you, it's because I thought I was smarter than wrestling. And I thought, wrestling needs me. And they need my help. It's pretty arrogant, right? But now I realize that I was absolutely fucking right. Wrestling is better with me in it. And I will say this, most of the people who heavily criticize me on the sneak, on the down low, wrestling, at the very least, wouldn't miss you if you were gone. And at the most, and the truth is, it's probably better once you're not involved with it anymore. Ouch. Now it's time for the P list. Welcome to the P list. Welcome to the P list. Welcome to the P list. There it is. That's if I put in that snazzy little intro. I hope I remember to do that. Top 10 kind of wrestling fans that I hate. Number 10. It might be hard to see, but don't worry, I'll call it out. The unapologetic WCW stands, especially at the end. Oh, you know, WCW from 99 on, it really wasn't that bad. What the fuck are you talking about? That shit was horrible. But no, were there individual things that might have been okay here and there? I guess. But if you're somebody who wants to sit here and tell me that WCW after fucking 99 wasn't the worst shit, you're fucking insane. And the worst parts of Raw is when I realize that's like fucking WCW. That's how I know Raw is shit. Because it's like WCW in 2000. If you are a WCW after 99 stan, go fuck yourself. Fucking asshole. Number 9. Super fans of one specific indie. I'm going to say something and people are going to get mad. An indie is an indie is an indie. Yes, there are distinctions you can make between good shows, shows where you can learn, and shit shows. But at the end of the day, all of them have an element of being a mercenary show, meaning they just hire people to make their show better because they don't really have an inborn group. And all of them have elements of fucking vanity shows. Every single fucking indie. The degree at which they do is inversely proportional to how shitty they are, but all of them have those elements. And anybody who goes, such and such indie show is the best one in the country and it is so much better than all the rest of them, go fuck yourself. You don't know what you're talking about. Get stuffed. I have to deal with these people all the time when I do a fucking review of something who go like, you weren't familiar with such and such indie? Then how can you... What the fuck are you talking about? There are goddamn 5 billion of these fucking shit shows all around. An indie is an indie is an indie. And all of them have huge fucking problems in one way, shape, or form. They're all vanity projects. They're all mercenary shows to some degree. Or they don't fucking run enough to really fucking count in my eyes. Oh, well. But if you're somebody who's just live and die, I'm all about this one show and I think they're really doing something super special and they're different than all the rest because it's the guys that come through there are the ones who are going to get signed and all this. Oh, get the fuck away from me. You're full of shit. An indie is an indie is an indie. And here's my proof. If any one of them fucking stopped running right this second and never ran again, the wrestling business would look every bit the same. Ouch. So if you're a fan of one specific indie beyond reason, go fuck yourself. Number 8. Fans of the territory age of wrestling. The number one question that I used to get, and thankfully don't get anymore because I've answered it enough that people know how I feel. Do you think the territories can come back? 1, none of you are smart enough to fucking run a territory in the first goddamn place. That's been shown a million times. 2, no. 3, we don't want that anyway. Right now is as good as it's going to get in the indies, which is more than one league, maybe 3 or 4 even, you could argue, that can sign guys to reasonable money. That hasn't existed in a long time. The territory days, fuck that shit. Nobody is capable of doing it. Nobody will watch wrestling that many fucking times anyway. And a local television broadcast or a YouTube broadcast or anything else is not going to generate enough of a true diehard spending money fan base to support any territory, period. So fuck you, get over yourself. This is idealistic nonsense. It existed at a moment in time and it doesn't exist anymore. Guess what? There's no more fucking vaudeville. But there are fucking variety shows on television that people, especially dumb people, tend to love. Wonderful. Does anybody ask, when is the fucking live vaudeville show coming back? It's not, and we're all better for it. Things die and move on, including people who fucking admire the territories beyond reason. They're gonna die soon too because they're fucking old. Number 7. I'm the most supportive fan ever. Bragging. When did people bragging about the money they spent on shows and wrestlers become some kind of badge of fucking honor? When did I'm going to share all the links of these wrestlers' t-shirts become fucking the substitute from being an actual fan? When did, well, I actually buy tickets when I go to shows? Yeah, that makes you a fucking fan and a mark, which is fine, but it doesn't make you a better fucking wrestling person. God damn, what the fuck is wrong with people nowadays? For God's sakes, bragging about the fucking money that you spend in pro wrestling and wearing it like some kind of badge of honor. I get why individual promotions would encourage this behavior. It benefits you. I'm not stupid and I get that. But for fans to think that they can fucking take their place and sit on the highest stair in the yard at Alcatraz because they're dumb marks that spend more and more money than anybody else. If you're somebody who has bought, let's say, more than 30 fucking wrestling shirts from the indies and individual wrestlers, and take a perverse pride in that, it's one thing to just do it. But people who flex that as you want to talk about a weird flex, as the kids say? A weird flex is, I continue to spend money. Fuck, if you love a fucking wrestler, give them the $20. That supports them in a way that fucking buying their shirt does not. Because that shirt has a fucking sunk cost in it. So it doesn't give them as much money. But this weird flex of I'm a better fan because I spend more money is fucking weird to me. I feel the same way about sports fans who fucking flex their fucking... Oh, I'm a fucking Atlanta Falcons fan no matter how good or bad they... What the fuck ever. Like, you think that makes you a better fan? You're just a fucking fan. I'm going to let you in a little secret on my life. You know what place I like visiting the most? The Atlanta Falcons fucking Facebook page. You know when I like visiting it the most? When the Atlanta Falcons are doing shitty. You know why? Because I get to see these fucking die-hard, fucking dyed-in-the-wool Atlanta Falcons fans turn on them in a fucking drop of a hat. My God, when they fumble the ball, the fucking posts that go up about how they need to blow the team up and all the rest of this shit. I think it's hilarious because to me it's indicative of any true fan and how they really are, which is they just crave success, which is normal. But the fact that everybody tries to flex and like, I'm the better fan because I'm a fan no matter what fucking shit they do and no matter how many games they lose, I'm Falcons through and through. But then I'll find them in another thread bitching and moaning and whining and kvetching and like, this will be the last game that I watch if they do this or that and the other. I think it's fucking hilarious. And I think the worst fucking football fan is most wrestling fans. Number 6, work rate purist wrestling fan. Oh my fucking God. This is one of the fucking lamest fucking things going in the wrestling business. Kvetching about who's got the fucking best cravat and all this kind of bullshit. Like, shit that's supposed to connect to you on an emotional level it's magic. And it has very little to do with who's got the best work rate. Is that a factor? To a limited extent, it is. But there's a reason when I review wrestling shows that I rarely talk about work rate and I rarely talk about moves and transitions that happen bell to bell. I don't give a fuck. I'm looking for general impressions. Yeah. And guess what? That's how most people watch anything nowadays. There are exceptions. Of course there is. If you're good at something, it always defies expectation. Can I watch fucking Benoit and Angle roll around on the mat? Hell yes, because they're fucking better at it than everybody else. And that's wonderful. But those two, as great as they are in the ring together, I will fucking watch Flair and Steamboat as well. They don't go in the same work rate those two guys do, but are you going to tell me they aren't just as great? Of course they are. But you know what? I can watch deathmatch shit and enjoy that too. You know what? I enjoyed Hogan shit to an extent. And I was there in its prime, right? All forms of storytelling, some of which we can never go back to. We can't have Hulkamania the way it was. Hell, I don't even think you could pull off a Goldbergian thing again. It's just the nature of things and they continue to change. But this idea that who's the best fake fighter in the underwear has always been incredibly ridiculous to me. And for anybody to kind of hold that standard. Now, if you want to say, hey, it's a problem to me that AEW has more wrestling in the first 30 minutes of Dynamite than Raw has in an hour and a half in terms of sheer minutes of actual in-ring bell-to-bell wrestling, that's an argument, right? But if you want to talk about work rate shit and so deserves to be the champion because they do the most fake fighting, you're a fucking idiot. And you clearly don't understand the point of wrestling. Number 5, Meltzer. Super Meltzer fans are pretty rare. And by the way, they're usually super AEW fans. I think there's a reason for that. But the anti-Meltzer fans, you're fucking annoying too. Let me make this clear. You cannot like Dave Meltzer now. Of course you can. Of course you can argue that him having 6 stars is fucking ridiculous. I agree with you. You can argue that his endless fucking bending over backwards for AEW is fucking way out of bounds and fucking annoying, and he's probably in too deep. I would agree with that too. But he gets recognized, and I get why that's fun for him. And at this stage in the game, that guy has watched more wrestling than you've lived an actual lifetime. Right? But the fact that people are just like, oh, his opinion's the same as everybody. That guy, when fucking Montreal Screwjob happened, Brett went to Dave. Because when I was in the wrestling business and actively wrestling, we would fucking find observers and read them like they were the fucking Bible. Because if not for him, the wrestling business would have remained this archaic fucking borderline fucking plantation system. He was a big part in letting us know who was who and what was what and where there were job openings. He was good at getting fucking information that we craved and wanted to know. And nowadays, we want to fucking assign information whether it's worthy to know or not. Bullshit. I'm a guy that loves to read. I'm a guy that would rather have the information out there for me to ascertain and sift through myself. I want all of it out there. And Dave Meltzer is responsible for a lot of wrestling information being out there that otherwise would not have been out there. And he is an integral and important part of wrestling history and even the modern game. That said, yes, there are a lot of annoying things about him. But I can generally spot a fucking moron by what they say about Dave Meltzer in a negative way. 99 times out of 100, they're fucking idiots. Speaking of, number 4, die-hard Jim Cornette fans. I'm a Jim Cornette guy, and everything Jim Cornette says I agree with. Jim Cornette is making money off of you fucking idiots. I'm not saying that he's insincere. I'm just saying his relevancy to the modern game is virtually non-existent. Anything Jim Cornette can tell you that has value in wrestling, I can tell you as well, and probably have. And I can actually adapt and appreciate the modern game in a way that Jim Cornette is incapable of. Jim Cornette, in many ways, is happy being a fucking curmudgeon-y old dinosaur. And he would go, well, all these people that say I'm a curmudgeon, they don't understand that there's a proper storytelling. He thinks that he's got some kind of fucking secret. It's just fucking storytelling. And the truth is, there are no hard and fast rules of wrestling. And the truth is, if there are hard and fast rules of wrestling, according to Jim Cornette, that he's broken every fucking one of them. And just pretends that he didn't. And a hypocrite sucks, even if it's a guy that you happen to admire. Is Jim Cornette one of the 3 best managers of all time? Undoubtedly. Is Jim Cornette an entertaining wrestling personality? Yes, though becoming increasingly less so. But does he really have... if Jim Cornette died tomorrow, would an age of wrestling be done? Nope. It wouldn't. That's the truth. His inability to see things closer to as they are, and instead see things through this incredibly dense and thick lens that he has created, where he would say, politically and otherwise, anybody who follows someone blindly is an idiot, unless you're somebody following me because I actually know. That means you're lost already. If you think that you have the big T truth about anything and you have exclusive fucking retention of that, chances are you're a charlatan, even if you yourself don't realize that you're a charlatan. And if you're a fan of a fucking charlatan, go fuck yourself. Number 3, WWE hardcore fans. Can't you just say it? Just say it. Raw is shit. And SmackDown is better than Raw, but there's times where it's shit too. And NXT is well done, and it is good, and it's boring as fuck. That doesn't mean those things can't change. But the inability, people who say shit like AEW, I just don't understand it. What the fuck does that mean? What's not to understand? I'm going to break something to you, WWE fucking stans. AEW is closer to the pro wrestling that you purport to love than WWE ever is. WWE is not pro wrestling anymore. It is content-filling bullshit. Even the way they structure TV matches, it's not pro wrestling. It's formulaic nonsense. That doesn't mean individuals don't shine. It doesn't mean there aren't times where things aren't genuinely good. But it does mean the days where they have things planned all the way to the next WrestleMania are long gone. Everything now is pulling it out of their ass. They're a more well-funded version of the indie that does matchmaking on a dry erase board. That's what's happening. And for you guys to claim that it's anything else is just wanting it to be that way. But it's not that way. WWE fans who blindly just have this allegiance to a company that doesn't give a fuck about you beyond your fucking demographic and your check. But I will say, number 2, AEW hardcore fans are the worst. Oh my God. Because I try to keep my finger on the pulse. And I will say the AEW stands on the fucking boards and Facebook and Twitter are the fucking worst. The fucking explaining everything away shit. They're fanatics. And so, of course, they're going to be more annoying. Because WWE doesn't really have fanatics at this point. That's another reason that you know that they're kind of shitty. They're not inspiring. They can have a bigger audience. I'm saying there's nothing inspirational. WrestleMania doesn't even hold that aura that it used to. WWE is not inspiring. AEW is, but part of the negative part of inspiration is the fanatics. And they've got them, and they're the current worst right fucking now. Holy fucking shit. Love AEW, but they're hardcore fans that fucking, oh, can do no wrong, and I love them, and they're the best. They're just like think of like, I mean, and we've seen this many times before, the worst ECW fans. They're insufferable. Those fucking angry virgin motherfuckers. Back in the day, the like fucking insufferable Ring of Honor is the best and everything else is terrible. Those guys suck too. And WWF slash WCW, when the Monday Night Wars were happening, and one's fans would be like irrationally like, I would never watch the other one. What the fuck? Then you're missing out, because that was great shit, right? Fuck. AEW right now, they've got the crazy fanatics because it's the show that inspires. That's good, but it's also breeding the Angry Virgin 2021 is definitely owned by AEW. But the number one, wrestling fans that have disdain for any kind of change. That if they had their way on the indie level, it would be the same guys they would see every week, just matched up in different ways, moving pegs around a board. The ones that when a wrestling group tries and experiments with something, just out of hand dismisses no matter what. That has hard and fast rules. A lot of these are Cornette fans, by the way. These people that allow no room for something new, right? There's a new indie. It's just going to be a shit show. New league like AEW. It's just going to go away in a year. Anything that changes is doom, right? If a show moves a night, it's a different night. They're going to die. Like, this disdain for any kind of change, which is a sign of getting old in general. It's really killing the fucking wrestling business. So ask yourself, are you one of these 10? It's okay if you are. Just be fucking conscious of the shit. I love saying fuck the fans. Because at the end of the day, I really love this shit. And as this commentary winds to an end, fuck, this is who I am. I'm always going to be the guy that strives for greatness. But I realize that I'm also been defining the terms of what I think greatness is. And then I have the guts to go after it. And so the key is not to not be obsessed. The key is to plan out, how am I going to be obsessed and drive myself in the proper directions. And I would imagine that that's going to be the best bit of advice that I can give you as well. What's something that you really feel passionate about? That's one part. Another part is, what would greatness be to you? Not just a goal, but what would greatness be to you? What would make you go like, this is fucking great? And then become obsessed. I always heard those cliches about like, when you can get out of bed and you're fucking all fired up to do something. I'm there. When it comes to the video game shit, of course, but with wrestling too. If you can't tell, I really enjoy making these videos. And I enjoy commenting and reviewing, interacting, and all of that shit. So for God's sakes, get off your ass. Dogecoin isn't going to save you. Pretending that you know about Dogecoin and finance isn't going to save you. Plugging in and obsessing and taking a true risk. Courting failure. True failure. Not the failure that comes with giving up on something before you even start, but attempting it and then failing, but then attempting again. So few do it, but then so few are involved in the wrestling business compared to the pool of fans and people in general. You want to live a spectacular life. You want to be a part of something bigger than yourself, then you have to be obsessive. We talk about all these ways that being obsessive and passionate are bad. And it's true. There can be sort of symptoms of that that are negative. But fuck everybody else. I'm going to embrace it. And I'm going to continue to push forward. Who's going to be there running on the side that I can see? Maybe nobody. But maybe you. This has been Full Disclosure.